Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I introduce you to a unique and informative fireside chat, navigating Cognos Analytics 12 installations and upgrades. This event represents a collaborative initiative between IBM and Northdoor to explore the evolving landscape of data analytics and the imperative journey to Cognos Analytics 12. In the rapidly advancing world of business intelligence, staying at the forefront of innovation is more crucial than ever. The Cognos Analytics platform has always been a cornerstone in helping organisations leverage their data effectively, and with the introduction of Cognos Analytics 12, we're on the cusp of a transformative leap forward. This event is a testament to our commitment to providing you with the knowledge and tools to excel in the ever-evolving world of data analytics. As we embark on this journey, we encourage you to actively engage with our expert speaker, ask questions, and make the most of this opportunity to enhance your understanding of Cognos Analytics 12. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to hand over to my esteemed colleague, Anjela Ubogu, a distinguished leader at Northdoor with an impressive track record in navigating organisations through the intricacies of IT solutions, including Cognos Analytics.
Thank you for that introduction, Rob. I'm Anjela from Northdoor, your host for the webinar. Northdoor is a corporate IT consultancy firm. We apply our knowledge and expertise to help businesses capture, manage, protect, and analyse large volumes of commercial data. So why are we here today? During this fireside chat, we'll delve into the practical insights that empower your organisation to embrace Cognos Analytics 12 effectively. We will explore the key features, customisation options, security enhancements, and strategies for a seamless transition or a new installation. So with me today is Stephen Green. Stephen has been with IBM for nearly 27 years and is the Europe, UK, Middle East and African Technical Manager for Business Analytics. For 10 years prior to IBM, Stephen was a Cognos customer. So Stephen combines strong business industry experience with deep technical and architectural skills to help our customers develop strategies infusing data and analytics to support those business challenges. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you.
So, Stephen, with Cognos Analytics 12, the release of Cognos Analytics 12, what actually differentiates us from the rest of the market?
I think the biggest differentiator when you're looking at Cognos Analytics compared to a lot of our competitors is the breadth of the offering. If you think about what people want to do, we're not just doing a dashboard. There's a lot more to life than just a dashboard. Dashboards are important. You wouldn't drive a car without a dashboard. You wouldn't drive a business without a dashboard. But you need other information as well. You need those base reports. Reporting's not sexy. It's not fancy. Nobody's really talking about it, but it's absolutely vital for running a business. So if you think about it, you do need to know how many widgets of A you've got in warehouse Z in aisle 4. Not particularly sexy, but it's vital to running the business. Cognos Analytics has that full breadth, so we can go from that very detailed, pixel-perfect reporting, if we wish to, all the way through dashboarding, through analysis, through data mining tools built into the product, through explorations, through storyboarding, and even out to mobile, all in that one single installation, one single product, not optional add-ons.
So what are some of those standout features for Cognos Analytics 12?
The first thing you'll notice that changed from the early versions like 11.2.4, which is the current long-term support, is the assistant. The assistant has moved from being a component of sort of the dashboarding, where when you're working with you ask your questions, to right at the front. So the first time you connect and you log in, the assistant is there. What do you want to do? What do you want to know? You can straight away start asking it questions. So you could say, what was my sales last quarter, or sales since Christmas? And it will analyse the data, find the right thing, and generate you the information straight there and then. And from that, you can go straight away and create a dashboard. You don't have to go into the tool. You can click a button and go straight there, or share it and send it out to people. We've done a lot of work on performance as well. I mean, performance is key. People always say, what's an acceptable performance of a computer? I tend to say instantaneous. Everything else is a compromise. But people will compromise depending on the amount of data. So if you think about performance, the more data you have, the worse it gets, particularly around dashboarding when you've got lots of objects. So we've done a lot of work on the performance behind the scenes in terms of the query, but also caching. So when you're in a dashboard, you should be able to click a button and see it straight away. Because don't forget, Cognos is aimed at a business user. I don't really want to know how to do that. I just want a button. And this is automatic. You don't need to understand programming to make this active.
Yeah. So you mentioned about user experience just then. So what sort of improvements have we had for non-technical users?
So for the non-technical user, what you're looking at there is sort of the business terminology. So instead of having to think in computer terms, you really can think in business terms. So as I say, rather than saying, I'm trying to work out my revenue or my transaction since, you can just say, since Christmas. And it knows what Christmas is, and it knows when it was, last quarter, relative time. That's the sort of thing I mean by sort of business using terminology. Because it's also a natural language. So when you ask it a question, it should reply in a term that you can understand. So if you think about, let's say what was my revenue? And it says, oh, it was 12.583964.2 million. Nobody says that. And a computer, of course, would do that. It would throw you all these decimal points out. So it understands, and it will say, yes, it's 12.5 million. So it'll arrange how it does it. And instead of creating a chart, if it's just a simple answer, it'll give you a simple answer. I mean, don't forget, when you're talking about business users, they need to be able to access this easily. And everybody in the organisation needs to access it, regardless of abilities or whatever. So we have built-in accessibility options. So if you have site problems or whatever, then all the standards are supported. So things like JAWS readers, high contrast, those sort of things make it much easier to integrate into business and make everybody use it. If nobody's using it, you're not going to get the benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's just brought it across the whole spectrum then. What about mobile? The ability to be able to use this on mobile devices? So
mobile comes into multiple forms. I mean, there is mobile working, which is big, and everybody likes to work from home these days, or not, depending if you've got kids. But if you want to work from home, it's fine, because there's no install for the main product. It's all web-based, it's all through the browser, no plugins, it all runs that set. In fact, it's also what we call stateless, so we're not holding any resources on the server whilst you're looking at it.
Yeah.
So you can run it on any device that can handle a web browser. We don't recommend going below about 8 inches, so a tablet type format is fine, and I quite regularly run on a tablet. And in 12, we've done a lot of work in auto scaling, so regardless of where it is, it will work out what size screen you're on, it will scale the charts accordingly to fit the display.
Right.
Once you go onto a phone, of course, we're into a different matter, but we'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I just wanted to say is that if we have any questions, could you, from the audience, could you please add these into the chat, and Connor will let us know about these. Right, so what I might do, Stephen, is just move on to sort of like customization and reporting. Can you sort of explain the levels of customization available?
So customization, you can customize as much as you like. You can change the look and feel of the whole interface. When we come with some themes, and we have a superb Carbon X theme, which is fantastic. If you don't like that, you want to put your corporate theme, knock yourself out. You can bring in your company logos. You can even have subdivisions. So if you have a corporate and you have companies, we can tailor them based on who you are as to what view you see, what logos you see, what dashboards, what reports, etc. All from that one instance. You don't need to create multiple instances. Don't forget, as I said, reporting is a key strength. So when you're talking about customizations, people get very excitable about how do I actually make this look how I want. Well, we've got this pixel perfect. We can go down to the actual point on the screen with reporting as to where you actually want to lay things out. So in terms of customization, setting it. And of course, if you're looking at making these extended, there's a lot of things you need to do to make data more accessible. And a classic one is like a map. So if you're going to put a map down, and maps are both geographic and also sort of layout structures. So if you've got, say, a store or a factory or a warehouse, it would be nice to actually be able to map those out and see where the footfall is in the store maybe. So maybe I can work out what the density is, what's the best layout for the shops, and laying all that over on the charts as well. So there's a lot of customizations in doing that.
So we've talked around that customization and the reporting. How about now collaboration? So how are we collaborating so that we can get all of our team involved?
Collaboration is vital. You can have the best report or dashboard in the world. If it's just sat in your drawer and nobody's looking at it, it's completely useless. You need to be able to get it out there and share it. Classic workhorse is email. Well, everybody knows how to send an email, attach it as an email, but that's got old technology.
Yeah, it's pretty old school, isn't it?
Yeah. It's still important though, particularly if you're doing business-to-business type activities, then you'd want to be able to automatically burst the report, so just you get your version, so you get your version, whatever it is you need. That again is standard, we're not an add-on. But in terms of most collaboration, it's when you're interacting with data. We support Slack. IBM uses Slack as its collaboration tool. A lot of companies use Slack, it's quite a good tool. But also a lot use Microsoft Teams. The world runs on Microsoft, get over it. We need to be able to integrate with Teams. We now fully integrate into Teams with the dashboarding. So you can have chats, you can have discussions, you can embed the dashboard, you can link to the dashboard, you can run the dashboard live inside of Teams. So whilst you're collaborating, you can interact with it.
Okay, so we've spoken around that reporting, the collaboration. So now can we have how about machine learning and AI? How is Cognos Analytics 12 coping with that?
So machine learning is an interesting topic, and around the whole AI topic and around how you actually embed it and use it inside of business intelligence tools. There's a whole discussion we could spend the whole half hour just talking around that. Luckily we're not going to, don't worry. But what Cognos Analytics does is there's a lot of artificial intelligence and recommenders working. I prefer the term sort of symbiotics. In AI there's different levels of it. And in Cognos Analytics, in Cognos 12 at the moment, the key bit is more symbiotic. So you want to do something, and the machine will work out the best way to do that. Instead of the machine saying, this is what you need to do, which is what a lot of people think AI is, killer robots invading the world, it's more around, I want to do this, I need to get this information, I need to get it out to these people, I need to do that. It will work that out for you. So you decide what you want to do, it then does it. It's also learning what you're doing along the way. So not only will it sort of help you choose the right chart, but it will learn how you like to work with it. So if it keeps presenting you for a pie chart, say, and you immediately change it, it'll work out it doesn't like pie charts. And it will stop recommending that as the first chart. It will start recommending other types of charts.
Okay, and is this available out of the box?
Yeah, it's all built in. So there's nothing extra.
Great.
There's everything we're talking about today is the standard product, single install.
So Stephen, I'd like to just sort of go a little bit left field now and talk about integration and what the capabilities are around that. And perhaps if we could look at sort of data connections as well and what's available there.
Okay, so one of another strength, I guess there's going to be a lot of strengths.
Great, we like this.
What have the Romans ever done for us? A key strength of Cognos is its data connections. It is data agnostic. We're not tied to a single data structure. So almost regardless of what you have, we will be able to link to it. Our preferred method is JDBC. So at the moment we start using the JDBC connectors, they're a lot more efficient, they give you a lot more flexibility in some of the commands you can do. But obviously we still have old data structures there as well. The thing with Cognos Analytics is we don't make you throw anything away. So if you've got an older structure and you're still using the native connector, that's fine, you can carry on. But we also support other things like CData. So CData is a service. So we provide the link to the service, we don't provide the service. But you can now connect Cognos Analytics to CData. This allows you to connect to things like streaming sources or sources that you wouldn't naturally normally want to analyze. But you have to remember that, of course, we are still thinking about structured data. We're not really doing unstructured. This is an analysis tool. It's not a data science tool. This is still doing that set. For things like that, we would call out to Watson Studio. We also connect now to the new offering from IBM, WatsonX.data, which is this data lake house. So you get all the benefits of a data lake in terms of storing the data, and the benefits of warehouse in terms of its nice structure and its sort of conformed dimensional structures in order to make the reporting easier.
So Stephen, we've got customers that are seeing significant growth. So what sort of scalability and performance do we have available to us with Cognos Analytics 12?
So Cognos Analytics was built to be scalable. It was built from the ground up to support anything from 1 or 2 users to hundreds of thousands of users, and we've got multinational companies running this software, obviously. There are different ways to scale, of course. So Cognos can scale vertically and horizontally. So you can add, if you're going on-prem, you can add more machines side by side, and you can then share the load across them. That's fine. It's fully scalable sideways. You can also move to things like cloud, so maybe to SaaS. We have a lot of customers interested, obviously, in looking at how they support their infrastructure, and moving to SaaS. SaaS gives you a lot of benefits, obviously, in terms of scalability, because you don't need to worry about it. It's somebody else's problem. And IBM uses the concept of a cloud hosted. We're also looking at moving on to the likes of AWS and Azure. We also have it based on OpenShift. So we're generating container structures. The cloud offering, by the way, is in containers, but you don't need to know. That's the beauty of the cloud offering. I don't need to know. It just works, and somebody else worries about it. But in terms of the container structures we're doing on OpenShift, which we now released on our Cloud Pak for Data platform, the system will auto-scale. It also auto-heals. So if it blocks, so let's say the query server goes down, traditionally you'd have to restart the whole machine. In containers, that container just dies and it respawns and starts straight away, so you don't need to do anything. Users will notice a small drop in performance for a while, and then it will carry on. But it will also scale automatically. So if a service gets blocked, then the system will spawn more containers to actually share the load across and auto-share them across. It will kill them as well, so it will go back down to the minimum to not block the hardware as it needs. So it auto-breathes, if you like, breathes as the demand loads.
Great. Well, that's covered my performance as well, because so you're saying that it doesn't matter how many users we have there, it'll still be performing. Yes,
it'll still perform. There are obviously some techniques in terms of handling and how you actually structure data. Because if you think about performance is quite often people will say Cognos is slow. It's not always Cognos. Cognos happens to be on the glass. So when you're looking at a computer screen, the thing that's causing you the problem is the thing that you're looking at, regardless if it's the thing that's underneath, like the database or the structures, which tends to be where the issues are. They tend to be somewhere else other than Cognos when we're actually analysing it. There's a lot of things we can do to help, like pre-caching. We use things like data sets, which will run the more complicated sets.
So Stephen, what sort of security enhancements have we got now in Cognos 12?
There's nothing specifically was added in 12 around security as a skill, but if you go back to when the product was actually designed, it was called ReportNet first, back around actually the turn of the century, ages, about 2001, 2002. Yeah. The thing was built with security in mind, so all the data is encrypted, both at rest and in transit. So all moving data, even static data, is all encrypted. So we have a lot of tight security based at that level. We've obviously improved it over time. We've added new ciphers, new codes as they come on. We've made it easier to understand what's happening inside the product. There's nothing special extra in 12 versus 11, but it's still hyper secure.
So Stephen, I'd like to move on to migrations and upgrades. So what would be IBM's recommendations?
So upgrading from 11 to 12 is quite straightforward. It's an over-the-top install. It will move everything forwards automatically. The interface has changed, so you do need to re-educate your users. You may have to update your documentations, etc. Moving from an early version like 10, then that was quite a big jump from 10.2 to the 11 and into the 12 section. And we'd probably recommend actually maybe getting some help with that one, so maybe contracting to something like your good selves.
So we're nearing the end of a proof of concept for one of our customers, going from 10.2 to 11.2.4. And the biggest changes that we've found are around dashboard look and feel, Cognos legacy studios, and licensing models. So what we're doing is we're using the POC as an opportunity to review security, report usage, folder structure, and to create a clear upgrade path. So Northdoor services are underpinned by our unique AIM methodology, which stands for Advise, Implement, and Manage. We'd be happy to discuss this further, so please let me know.
Just seen a question in the chat box regarding the legacy studios. Legacy studios. So what's happened to the legacy studios? So Query Studio, Analysis Studio. Let's be honest. We announced that we were going to kill this years ago. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
No.
In 11.2.4, they are still there. They are not in 12. We have finally dropped them in 12. The biggest killer of it, to be brutally honest, was Microsoft, because when Microsoft dropped support for Internet Explorer and went to Edge, Edge is based on the Chromium engine. They never worked in Chrome. We never supported the Chromium engine. So the support from Microsoft went. It still works in Firefox in 11.2.4. So if you use Firefox, that's great. You don't have a problem. But we would encourage people to really, really consider moving off those legacy studios.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've found that, and what we're doing at the moment is we're keeping one copy of Firefox so that we can make sure that we can cover those reports, but they will be migrated off. Okay. So what about support and training during this process? So how would we handle that from an IBM perspective?
So obviously IBM has normal support. So we have the full SNS support. So you'll get upgrades, you'll get the fix packs as needed, assuming you're paying full support. We don't actually do training directly at IBM. So we actually always point people at business partners like yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And as part of our AIM methodology, part of that process also covers training and support. So, Stephen, one thing we haven't covered yet is around pricing and licensing. Could you just give me a little overview on that?
It's very reasonable. Price it's extremely reasonable. It's probably the best value model in the market, and then I would say that. But if we look at this, pricing isn't one of those areas that people get very excitable about, and licensing. Now, our licensing model now is actually quite simple. There's really only 4 primary licenses. There's Administrator, Explorer, User, and Viewer. Now, the Viewer license is really for business to business. This is where you've got many hundreds of thousands of users in the company, but you only want to just look at it, use it. I always say that you don't employ people to play with computers, you employ them to run the business. You have a team that you employ to play with computers, and they provide the information down. So controlling that access is actually quite important. The primary model is actually the user license. The user license these days can do pretty much everything. It can do explorations, it can do create data structures, it can create reports, it can create dashboards, it can create stories, it can burst report. It's really, really powerful. We've really simplified this down. But don't forget, we've got the multiple platforms as well. So we have the on-prem, we have the SaaS services, and these licenses apply to all of those. But we also have an on-demand offering. So when people say Cognos is expensive to get started, it's not. So we have this on-demand offering, which has a very low entry point. I mean, it's like $10 a month for a standard user. The premium version, which actually has the full authoring capabilities, that's $40 a month. But from that level, you can see we're actually very, very price competitive, because that's it. There's no hidden costs. There's no extra servers. There's no extra things that you need to provision or purchase. That's it.
Yeah. One thing I'm grateful for, the simplification of the licensing structure. Yes. It's absolutely made life a lot easier for me. That's
much better than the 15 we used to have.
Exactly. Yeah. Listen, we've had a question come in on the chat. The question is for you, Stephen. It is the future of Cognos. What do we have to look forward to?
So, despite the rumours of its death, Cognos is very well alive and kicking, and is actually really starting to come on again. Yeah, we did take the eye off the ball a few years ago, but the focus is very much there, and it's actually quite an important product for IBM, because if you look at what we use it for, it's actually embedded in a lot of IBM products as the reporting component, more than you may actually think. It's also growing. I mean, we're adding new features, we're adding new functionality. AI is going to be more and more important as time comes on. And I don't mean necessarily link into things like chatbot, because let's face it, we're more interested in sort of industry standards or real industry weight models. And don't forget, IBM, of course, has a big impact and a good investment in this whole AI arena with the What's Next AI. So large language models, and how do we integrate it? I mean, if I'm thinking daydreaming away, I know that development are sort of looking at ways of being able to just go into the system with the assistant and just say, tell me about and it will generate dashboards and reports and explain it. So that's just the way that people want to go. Make it even more business focused. I mean, clearly, we do have a roadmap, despite what people think. We do have a good roadmap, and actually there is a public site you can look at it on. But if you want a detailed one, then contact Northdoor or contact myself, and we will more than happy to go through it with you.
Great. Well, Stephen, on that note, thank you very much for your time. That's been great, and thank you for your time. We have a few outstanding questions in the chat, but Connor will pick those up and we'll get back to you shortly. What we'd like to do is Northdoor would be pleased to offer a workshop free of charge, which covers new installations or upgrades. So what we'll do is we'll follow up on this shortly with information about that workshop. So thank you very much for attending, and it's goodbye from us.
Thank you very much.
With the new IBM Cognos Analytics 12, you can be faster and smarter, see further, and make decisions with confidence. The welcome page was redesigned to focus on the Cognos Analytics AI and self-service capabilities and quick access to data. The new Getting Started wizard gives us recommendations on how to explore our data based on the file we just uploaded. Significant natural language enhancements have been done to our system. It now understands comparatives and additional filters. You can now also see narrative insights for your data in the assistant, with or without a chart. Narrative insights are auto-generated and help you see meaningful aspects of your data in natural language. A new share option in the assistant allows you to select a visualization that was returned by the assistant in response to your question and share it via email, Microsoft Teams, or Slack. You can also annotate and edit the visualization image. The assistant is now integrated with the learning panel. With this, the assistant identifies questions related to how to use Cognos Analytics, searches for the topic and related topics in the learning panel, and opens several suggestions that can help the user. You can now use the Nested Dashboards widget to include multiple sets of content in a section of the dashboard canvas. A nested dashboard is a dashboard canvas that is embedded inside another dashboard. Use nested dashboards to switch between related visualizations, different visualization types, or between visual information and tabular information. Dashboard authors can now configure specific data to be cached locally. Now with the new Microsoft Teams integration, you also have a new link in your embedded report or dashboard tab in Microsoft Teams, allowing you to open Cognos Analytics in a new browser window. What's Next data is now also a supported data source.